Good morning and welcome to my channel. My name is Christina and I like to colour. Today again I have done Dark Fairytales. I have done the part 3 and part 4 of the boy and the troll, or the troll and the boy, or the boy who had an eating match with the troll. So the boy and the troll. I used, as you can see, I don't know, my desk is a complete mess. I used mainly Caran D'ache with a couple of Prismacolors, just because I like Prismacolors. I mainly focused on the faces, the background. If I could have coloured that in black, I would have done that, but it does look alright with all these little bits. Some of these fruits, or whatever they are, I did not know what they were. I'm not a fruit connoisseur. I don't know what that was. It looked like a tin of Spam, and I've never seen a tin of Spam except for TV. So I just did that, like a pumpkin. I don't know what some of these things up here were. Just a lot of these things, I don't know what they were, so I just made up my own colours. But if you know what they are, you colour them the colours you need to colour them. I just coloured them to make them a little bit bright, like even these. I just made them berries. That capsicum, or what does everyone else call it? A bell pepper. We call them capsicums. So yeah. This is the third and fourth part of this, and yeah, I'm happy with it. I did that black too. I know it's a rope, but I wanted it to be black. So yeah, this is the video and I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye. So here we are back again, colouring Kerby. The other part, so I've done probably 3 or 4 layers already on the left side of the face. That was in the first part of this one. There's going to be 4 parts because it just took forever to do these pages. Like I said in the previous one, I mainly did this for the faces. The background was just noise to me, but I did it anyway. So I'm starting with the shadows on the face, the Luminance Wawrm Earth I decided on because it's kind of similar to Dark Umber in Prismacolor. And I'm just doing this very lightly and just in the darkest shadows, because my goal is to give him a little bit of green on his face. Now I know the story is it's 2 different people, it's a boy and a troll. But I saw this page as the boy turning into the troll, so I'm going to have the green from the troll coming over into the human side of his face, so that is my whole goal. And like always, when colouring, try and colour in the direction that the skin or the leaf or whatever is going. So if the skin starts to turn sideways, try and colour sideways, if you know what I mean. And here I am getting the green ochre because I want that green over onto his face, but I don't want him to turn into, what's a green fruit? Is there a green fruit? An apple, a grape. I don't want him to turn into a frog. I don't want him to turn that green. So I'm just going to, my goal is to just subtly colour in the green and slowly work it up. I do it subtly so that I can step back and see if I like it, see if it's too green. If I just add a whole lot of green to start with, it's going to be difficult to get rid of it. As usual, I forgot to do something, and when colouring I realised I forgot to do the shadows on the neck. The neck is going to mainly be one big shadow, but obviously you want to try and make it different colours, different tones, different shades. That's the word I was looking for, different shades. So you don't just want it all to be black, you want to make it different shades, but darker than the rest of the face because it's in shadow. Slowly building up the green, just very slowly am I doing it, and very lightly as well. I'm not pushing very hard on this. I actually don't mind this green ochre in the luminance. It's a really ugly green. No offense to the green ochre, but it really is an ugly green, and it worked perfectly for what I wanted in this page. Now, while trying to get the green in there, I also have to try and keep the humanity in his face, so I'm going to have to add more normal colours to his face to try and get him human-like with a tinge of green. So that is why I'm now using the dark flesh, which is another really nice colour in the Caran D'ache as well. I actually really like it too, but it's a darker colour, so it's mainly going to the shadows, and I will colour over the green because I want the green there, but I want the green to be subtle and just there, but is it there? You know what I mean? Burnt ochre 50% is quite dark as well, so this one's just for the shadows. I'm still doing light pressure. Only when I get to the very last few layers of the shadows will I do heavier pressure. I'm just trying to build up the normal colors in his face and trying to mix everything together. So right now he's definitely got shadows, but you can you know, that white patch, well not white, but the highlighted patch looks too highlighted, so I need to start building that up with other colors. So this burnt ochre 10% is a good color to go over everything and try and turn it more human and less dark and bright. And you can tell just from the way that I'm holding this pencil, I'm holding it on an angle. Well, there I'm not, but before I was. When I'm holding it on an angle, I'm doing extremely light pressure, and I'm doing that just to get like a whole load of color on there. If you go too heavy with the burnt ochre 10% on the shadows, you're going to really lighten your shadows. So you've got the dilemma that you want to blend it all together, but you don't want to push too hard or you will lose your shadows. And the butternut I like too. It's got a yellowish tinge to it, so it's quite warm. And this is to try and dull down those highlights or the big bright patches that I have there. And this is also another light layer. As you can tell, my hand is a little bit further back on the pencil. And definitely not hard at pressure, especially on the shadows. You need to blend it, but you don't want to lose it. And now, as usual, I've lost whatever shadows, well, not, I haven't lost them, but they've gone down from what I wanted. And I've lost the green as well, so I need to add the green back and the shadows back. And just by very lightly building up the layers, the colors look so much better than what they would if you just slapped them down really hard and started to burnish everything after 2 to 3 layers. The build up of layers is what makes the picture look really good. And now the face is still got its dark shadows and bright highlights, and I want to change that, so that's what the burnt ochre is for. The whole idea of colouring is, to me, to build everything up and to make it look realistic. I really like the realistic look. I just love to sit down, and once I've planned out a page, I just love to sit down and colour it. And I am a messy colourer. I cannot keep my desk clean. It is just a complete mess, but it has to be that way until I have finished that page. I can't take anything off. I can't move anything. I don't usually empty my shavings. It's just the way that I work. I need that mess there in order to finish the colouring. And then once I've finished the colouring, then everything goes away in its spot, because everything has a spot, and I'll clean the desk, and then I'll start a new colouring, and then I'll make another mess. That's just the way I work. That's why I have trouble doing more than one usually colouring at a time, because I have everything all set up for that colouring, and if I'm trying to do another colouring, I need everything set up for that one on another desk, and well, I just don't have desks everywhere. So that is how I work, and it is annoying when I come into my room and I see a messy desk, but I just love sitting down and just grabbing the pencils when I can find them, because I don't keep them in order. I am not the most organized person. I have spots for everything, but there is no organization. Now, I don't know if any of you want to hear me talking. I don't particularly want to hear me talking. I'm not a huge talker, though you'd be surprised when you hear the videos. But I just love colouring. I really do. And once you get me started talking about colouring, I won't stop. And I suppose I should talk about what I'm colouring here. This is just getting the shadows back and spreading them lightly into the highlights there. So see how I'm bringing some of the shadows out, but I'm not doing it dark and heavy. I want the colour in there, and I want it to blend so that it starts to look like a real face. And I'm doing this very lightly. And of course, as usual, I've lost the green, all the shadows, or I always lose something, my mind, everything. So I'm putting the green back in and spreading it a teeny tiny little bit. Like I said, I don't want him to turn into a frog. Now I prefer to colour faces that have a lot of like age or texture. Like the troll was enjoyable to me. Young faces just don't seem to have the character that older faces have. And older faces, you can see the wrinkles and the lines and the happiness and the sadness and the weariness. So also in the human face is a lot of pores, and I just like to sometimes add them in. So I add them in using the eraser. This eraser has a very small eraser in it, which I really love. So I'm just going through and doing some dots on him, because they will be coloured in, so the dots won't be as bright as what they are, but they will still be there, and they'll be kind of subtle like the green. And if you're not interested in adding texture to the face, you don't have to do this bit. I'm just a little bit stubborn, and I like to just do what I'm going to do, and I just love doing faces. And this next step is also something you don't need to do if you're not interested in adding texture to his face. I've got the burnt ochre 50%, and I'm just doing a little shadow on some of the dots that I can see, because some of them just disappear, because there's going to be a shadow on the pores. It's a very subtle shadow, but it's going to be there, and I just like to do it sometimes. Adding more green to him. My goal with the green is to have it in the shadows and then to have just a little bit coming out, so you can definitely see the green, but in the shadows you'll look and you go, oh, it is green. And this is another texture thing that I'm going to do here. This is just adding some dots to the face because they'll disappear but they'll still be able to be seen a little bit. So I just want to add some texture and some interest to the face. I just do that because, like I said, I prefer doing older faces, ones with more character. So I just wanted to add a little bit of character to him, but not a great deal because, well, he's young. And no, I didn't use this on my ears before I put it on here. This is just to blend it together a little bit and to get if there's any wax on there, because Caran D'ache are soft pencils. I won't say they're waxy like Prismacolor, but they are softer than polychromos. God, words just not working today, not working any day. But yeah, this is just to blend it together and get rid of any residue. It only takes off a little bit of the coloured pencil, so that's why I don't mind using it. And adding more shadows again because, well, I've gone over it with lighter colours and I just got rid of some colour with the cotton bud. Dark umber and Prismacolor would be a good substitute for this luminance Wawrm Earth in this particular circumstance. Now, shadows on a face appear everywhere, but the main shadows are usually around the nose, around the eyes is usually pretty dark, under the hair, under the bottom lip, around the philtrum of it is of the nose, or the lip underneath the bit underneath the nose. I think that's called a philtrum, and the neck obviously, and around the chin, the whole chin, the jaw. That's the word I'm looking for, and around the jaw. So that's where the main shadows are. And now I am going and adding the dark flesh, just trying to get a more fleshy colour in here, just trying to build it all up and make him more human-like. I gotta be honest, when I'd only done a little bit of his face, and so I put it next to me when I'm in bed just for a little while so I can look at it and figure out what I need to do. And every time I would walk into the bedroom and the page was there, he looked to me a little bit, this is before I'd coloured his skin tone, I'd only got a few layers on. He looked to me like Cillian Murphy from Peaky Blinders. And I love Peaky Blinders, and so because he looked like Cillian Murphy, I thought I really want to draw Cillian Murphy now, just because his face is so it has so much there that I want to do. So I think I might actually draw Cillian Murphy next, because I get happy at the thought of colouring Cillian Murphy, or any face really, but yeah, I think I might do him. Anyway, I just used a cotton bud to blend it all together again, and now I am onto the eyeball, which I want to be green because he's turning into a troll, or an ogre as I call him. I don't know what the difference between a troll and an ogre is. To me, a troll lives under a bridge and an ogre lives in the forest. So an ogre is Shrek. Shrek is an ogre. So ogres are fun and mean. So eyes, they're usually lighter in the middle, darker on the outside, and a little bit darker towards the pupil as well. And they have lines in them, and it's just a matter of getting the color in there and then blending it together and then trying to get the lines in there as well. Now with certain eye colors, I usually add black just around the very, very edge of the eye, just to darken it a little bit. And I will go back over it with the dark sap green. And eyes themselves are actually quite dark, so I usually add it underneath the eyelid as well. Just adding the dark sap green to these shadows and adding lines as well underneath. So the top of the eyeball that is underneath the eyelid is going to be more shadowy than the bottom of the eyeball. What is it, cornea? The coloured bit. So yeah, there's going to be a shadow up there as well. And just adding some lines here, and then I get the eraser and just erase just a teeny tiny little bit near the pupil, because I just wanted to add some of this yellow. Well, I add the yellow first, and then I decide it's not quite as yellow as I want, so then I get the eraser, erase it, and just add a little bit of yellow just to add a little bit of color, not color, a little bit of layers to the color. So I wanted green in there, but also sometimes a highlight of green is yellow, and that's what I wanted here. The problem I was having was the pupil part of the eye is just so big on this one, and it's already drawn in and colored black, so I had to basically go with what it was. Like on the right hand side, the troll's pupil is a lot smaller. So I'm just trying to get the blend and the cohesion of the eye all together by adding the yellow and the green and the black, and I'm just working on it. I'll do it, I'll step back, I'll have a look. And unfortunately the camera has an issue with Caran D'ache when I'm colouring something small, so it blurs out a little bit when I'm colouring the eye and some of the background things, which is annoying. I'm working on figuring out how to do that, but Caran D'ache just seemed to upset the camera. Just darkening the shadows here on his eyes because they're usually quite dark in this area. And adding more green ochre because, well, I want to, and I've lost some of his green, so I need to add it back again. I don't know where it goes. I don't know if my hand rubs it off. I don't know if I colour over it. It just always disappears. I don't know if you've ever seen me colouring before, but I try to focus on one spot, but sometimes I get distracted. So I was colouring the eye and I saw that I hadn't done the lips, and so I decided to do the lips. And then I'll look back at the eye and I'll think, oh, I haven't finished that, and then I'll go back. That is just how I work. I have a brain that just does that. I can't. Sometimes I just have to do whatever the brain wants to do. And sometimes I just get bored of colouring what it is I'm colouring, so I'll go to something else so that I can then go back and colour. So I wanted his lips to be green because he's turning into a troll ogre. And yeah, so I chose the spring green as the base colour for his lips, and now I wanted a couple of different greens on his lips, so I'm adding the grass green, and then I'll do the dark sap green and a touch of black as the darker colours. Now lips have definite shadows and definite highlights, and lips, I don't care who you are, all lips have cracks in them, except maybe a newborn baby. They've got little wet, gooey lips. But yeah, once you get older, your lips start to get cracks in them. It's just not like huge big cracks. Oh my god, I'm talking too much. Cracks. They'll get lines, so everybody has them, and it definitely adds texture and interest to the lips, so I always try to add them as well. So lips shadows, this bottom lip here, the shadow is usually there where I'm colouring, and the top lip, the shadow is usually there where I'm colouring, and it will have other shadows as well, but that is generally where the shadows are the darkest. And now black for the gap in between his lips. That's usually black unless there's something else going on in there. I don't know what else could be going on in there, but if you got teeth or something, but yeah. And for the very darkest parts of these shadows, I'm going to put black on there. And so I want to make these dark green shadows, the dark green I want to make a little bit darker, and so I'm adding the dark sap green just to see if I like the darkness. See how I only added a little bit. And now I'm back to the black. The nostrils in the nose are usually quite dark unless you're pointed up at the sun, and the pupil is obviously black as well. I decide I like the dark sap green in the darkest shadows, so I start to add it to the rest of the face just to add some more layers to those colours. The more layers and the more colours you have, the more realistic and the more interesting the face looks, in my opinion. Like I could go there and add the flesh colours, like just a couple of them, so dark flesh and whatever other flesh colours I wanted, but it just wouldn't look as interesting and as layered as if I add a lot of different colours. And now I'm just trying to get some more colour into the lips because they look quite flat to me, so I'm adding the grass green again. And of course I get distracted by the hair, so I decide to go on to the hair. The base, I want the hair to be black like his troll ogre partner there, so the whole base of his hair is going to be Paynes grey 30%. And I do forget some at the bottom, so I will go back later on and get that. There's always something I miss. I can tell you right now, I've missed the ear for skin, so I go back and do that. And I miss the bottom of the hair that's under the ear. I don't know what it is. I just always miss ears. They're just, I don't know. They're just irrelevant to me. They should be hidden by the hair. So yeah, the base of the hair is going to be Paynes grey, because black hair is not going to have like white highlight. It will have light highlights, but the light is going to be, you know, like Paynes grey or something like that. And right now is when I realise I forgot the ear, so this is just me going through the skin tones to get the ear done. The ear has a lot of shadows in it as well, and the darkest part obviously is the bit under the little curly bit at the top and the little hole, the ear canal. That's an ear canal. They're going to be the darkest. And now back to the hair. So in a second I'm going to grab Paynes Grey 60%, and that is going to be for the shadows. So Kerby has already coloured in or drawn in some of the shadows, so I was just going by that as a guideline. And this is all light pressure as well. I'm not doing it very hard as either, and I'm not drawing in each individual hair because that would just take forever and it would look a little not right at the moment. There are times where you do add individual hairs, but this is not the time nor the place to add the individual hairs. Oh my god, sorry. And hair, just like absolutely everything else, needs layers, and the more layers you have, the better the hair looks, in my opinion. So I like to try and add quite a few layers to hair. And now onto black. I don't know if I said it before in this video, but when I say black, you can see that I'm using a luminance black, but unless it's a specific black that I think would be good for this coloring, it really doesn't matter what black you use. I prefer to use a little bit of a harder pencil. I know Prismacolors are soft pencils. Oh, sorry, Luminance are soft pencils, but they are definitely harder than Prismacolor. Prismacolor just melt into the page, and it's you can do hair with Prismacolors, but it's a little bit more difficult. So I prefer to use black that's a little bit harder when I'm doing hair, or a pencil that's a little bit harder. But yeah, I don't have luminance in front of the black because you can just use any black. It really doesn't matter, whatever your preference is. So I'm just coloring the shadows, and the shadows are going to be on the hair on the right hand side because my fake light is on the left hand side, and the hair is curly, and you want to try and indicate that in your coloring. So you have to, in your brain, just think where the top of the hair is going to be and where the the highlights are going to be. Sorry, I got distracted by my little finger there. It looked like his tongue was poking out, but it's my finger. Oh my god, I'm so simple. I was looking at that thinking, I don't remember colouring in a tongue. Yeah, I think I need to go to sleep. And always, always, always colour in the direction that the hair is going. So I'm not going to take this hair and go horizontal, because his hair is not horizontal, it's vertical, and I think that's right. Yeah, so colour in the direction of the hair. I do add some lines here, not many, but I do start to add just a couple of lines just to give a little indication of the hair. And now I'm just going to go back over with the Paynes Grey 60%, and I'm going to extend those shadows that I just did with the black. So I'm going to extend it just so he has layers to his colours in the hair. And I will also colour in a little bit, but also do some lines to indicate hair with the Paynes Grey as well. And don't worry, the hair is not done. I just got distracted by the eyebrow and decided I needed to do the eyebrow. And that is just me, and that is how I colour. So I want his eyebrow to be green to reflect the troll ogre coming out in him. So that's why I do a base of spring green and dark sap green, and yeah. I don't really do individual hairs on this particular eyebrow. I do at the very end just have some coming out of his eyebrow onto his skin, but there's no point doing it now because the skin is not done. And now I get out the white gel pen to add some of the highlights. That will be the highlights to the cracks in his lips, just to add a little bit of, well, highlights to his lips. And just going back over, getting his shadows and adding a few, going back over the cracks that I have in there. And I hold my fingers up here whenever I use cool grey or warm grey because it's really impossible to read the number sometimes. So I just do it so I don't have to get a magnifying glass to read the number, so I can put the colour that I used up on there. So that is why I hold my fingers up usually when I'm using a cool grey. And now the hair is still not done, but I decided to start the shirt because that's just me. So I want the shirt to be the same as the troll ogre person. So crimson red is the base, just to get a little bit of red in there, but I will eventually turn it kind of a burgundy colour. And black raspberry, which is a really nice colour for the midtones, just getting all the midtones in there coloured with fairly light pressure. And as with everything else, colour in the direction that the shirt is going. So this part of the shirt is going up and down or vertical, and the next part of the shirt is going horizontal in a way, diagonally horizontal if you want to be technical. I don't know. It's going west. Yeah, so colour in the direction that the shirt is going. Obviously I'm doing these lines here, I was just doing them, they need to go horizontally because that's the way they're drawn. They're creases. Creases go horizontally. And adding this black raspberry to the crimson red starts to make it look more purpley, and then I add dark purple and black grape, and then it starts to go more burgundy. And dark purple for the darker shadows, and using medium pressure for this. Getting some black grape in there as well, just to try and get the colour to turn burgundy in the shadows. And I just want to cool the shirt down a little bit, so this is why I decided to add the Luminance Dark Indigo for a couple of reasons. Luminance Dark Indigo is very dark. It's not as dark as black, obviously, but it is quite dark, and it's a cooler color, so I just want to add a little bit of coolness to the reddy purples. And the next couple of steps are just getting the layers in and trying to get that color in there. You can tell by the way that I'm holding this pencil that I'm doing it very lightly. I don't want the shirt to appear red, but I want the highlights, but I don't want the highlights to be as light as what they were. So I need the color darker. I don't need it red, but yeah, so this is a dilemma. So this is why I color it softly. And another cotton bud to blend it all together. I just want to add a little bit of color, a little bit more color into the face. It's still looking a little bit white, so I decided to use some burnt ochre 10% just to go over everything and add a little bit more of a pinkish tone to it. And the cotton bud again to blend it all together and just wipe off any excess that I don't need or want. And as per usual, I then go back to the shirt because I hadn't finished the shirt. I knew that I hadn't finished the shirt, but sometimes I just need to do something else so I can think about what it is I want to do with the shirt. So then I decided to make, you know, the shadows darker and just blend everything together. So that is what I'm doing here with the dark purple. I'm going over the shadows and the creases, and then I'll add some more layers to the shirt. And yet again, you can tell by the way I'm holding the pencil, I'm doing this very lightly with the black raspberry just to get that color in there, to color the whole shirt, and try and blend the highlights into the shadows. And then next I get a kneadable eraser and just go over, just erase just a tiny soft bit of where some of the highlights will be. Only where the creases are. I want the highlights on the left hand side of the creases. Kneadable eraser is a great thing to have, a great eraser to have, because it just very slowly and smoothly takes off just the little bit that you're doing, that you want to get off. I really like kneadable erasers. I like all the erasers. They all have their purpose, and kneadable erasers are great for just getting a little bit smoothly off. And back to the face again, because, well, that's me. So I'm going to do the shadows and just build up the shadows with the burnt ochre, and also just want to add some color into his face because he's looking a little colorless. Fixing up the lost green that was in the shadows because I just went over them with burnt ochre. So getting some more green back in the shadows. And the eyebrows and the lips are looking a little flat in my opinion, but I can't make the eyebrows too voluminous until I have finished the skin. So here I'm just doing a flicking motion and just making some of the eyebrow hairs poke out just a little bit, just to make it seem like an eyebrow. Like, unless, you know, everybody has a stray hair here and there. Well, this guy has a few, but you know, everybody has a stray hair, so that is the look that I'm trying to get here. And I'm adding some eyelashes as well. And back to the lips, because I just want to, and I also get distracted by the troll's lips as well, so I fix them up a little bit. And now, because I'm going for a cool look, not like cool as in, oh, you're so cool, cool as in opposite of hot, I just want to add some dark indigo to the black hair. Usually there is a blue in a black hair. It's just it's kind of like another color you add, because if you just use black, it's going to be very flat, so usually you want to add another color in there. So I decided on dark indigo. You can see that it's turning his hair quite, well, not quite, but a little bit blue. And I don't particularly want it to look blue, but I want the blue in there, so I will go over this dark indigo with the black again. And I'm using medium pressure for this, and I'm coloring chunks, but I'm also coloring the chunks with strokes, so I'm stroking the coloring. So yeah, you can see that some of them I'm doing lines that I join together, and others are a big chunk. Now just going to go back over with the lightest colour, the Paynes Grey 30%, just to get some more colour in there. This is light pressure as well. I just want to get a whole lot of colour in there, but I don't want to burnish anything. And now onto the black again, just to darken everything and go over the dark indigo so it's not so blue, but I want it black. I mean, you can't really tell that it's blue now that it's all there, but yeah. And I just quickly see that I'm not 100% happy with the hair on the troll side either, so I grab the Paynes Grey and go over his hair as well. And now I grab my huge white Prismacolor and I'm just going to go over the hair because so I'm using medium pressure here and I want to blend everything together, but I also want to keep the highlights there. So I try and start with the highlight and work into the shadow. And sometimes you have to wipe your white pencil as well because it will get black on it. But I'm just blending everything together so that it seems more cohesive. And you will see in a minute that I have forgotten the hair under his ear. I will do that when I eventually see it, which could be a year from now. But I did do it. I know I did. And now that everything is kind of blended, I want to go over with the black again just to get the shadows back in there, because the white definitely lightened everything. And see how, because it is a dark colored hair, the highlights, it definitely, you can see it has highlights once you get the shadows in there, but the highlights don't need to be white. And that is what you just have to try and figure out when you're coloring, what color your highlight should be. Obviously, I still haven't figured out that I haven't colored that bit of hair, but I will figure it out, I do promise, because I know it's colored. Either that or some fairy came and colored it for me, but I do know it's colored right now on the page. Anyway, when I pick up a black, I always look to see if I need any shadows anywhere, and so that is just what I'm doing. It's just random little bits that I do. Adding some more green ochre to his face because it's just not quite green enough for me. I just keep losing it with everything that I'm doing. So I just, the darker I make everything else around him, the more I lose his green. So I just want to add that green back in. I decided to add some black down to his shirt as well, just to give those creases a really nice dark crease. Just going over and getting another layer of those colours onto the shirt because it's still looking quite not blended and not colourful enough in my opinion. Using the eraser just to bring out just a couple of highlights there near where the creases are. Now it is just using a cotton bud. Well, I did just use a cotton bud to blend the shirt together. And now I'm going to get the black just to get some more shadows in there. But I was just going to say it is autumn here, like 5 days into autumn. And I'm kind of looking forward to the cooler weather, but being Queensland, we tend to be still in the very high 20s, that's Celsius, not Fahrenheit, until usually June, which is really frustrating. I was looking forward to the cooler weather. I just want to wear long pants and a long shirt, but it's still so hot, especially in the sun. It's just sweat, sweat, sweat. And I suppose I should talk about what I'm doing on the page. I'm getting some more color into him because his highlights just look a little flat. So that's what I'm doing with the burnt ochre. And the way I'm holding the pencil, you can tell I'm just doing a very light layer just to get the color in there. This may seem stupid to some, but I like to add sometimes a couple of layers of the dots. So the dots that I've already done, you can see them, but they're colored. So these are going to be a different layer of dots or pores. So that's why sometimes I do a few layers of the eraser dots. So I still haven't noticed that I haven't done his hair, but I will get there, I promise. And now I'm on to the not so fun background. I'm not going to do a great deal of talking for the background because it's just, you know, color it however you want to color it. For the branches, I decided to use burnt ochre. Some of the things on the page, I had no idea what they were. I'm not a huge fruit eater, so I'm not like a fruit connoisseur. I know there's apples and oranges, and I don't know what the thing under the axe is, so I just colored that yellowish, kind of like or orangish, kind of like a pawpaw or something. I don't know. And the thing near the block of cheese, to me that looked like a thing of spam that was melting. I just don't know what a lot of these was, so I just made up some colors just to try and get the background done. So color the background however you want to color it, but what I'm doing now is getting the base layer in for the branches, and then I'll use dark umber to do the shadows. And yay, I finally realized I didn't do his hair. So here I am, just quickly going over that little tuft of hair that I didn't do. And now back to the branches with the dark umber for the shadows and the lines and the creases in the branches. Kerby has already drawn in the lines and that, so I just go over the lines with brown and do the shadows on the right hand side and where they curve. Forgot to press record for a minute while I was colouring the leaves. So the leaves, they're just what I'm doing right here, a base layer of spring green. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, leaves annoy me how people draw them because their lines usually are not darker than the colour of the leaf. They're usually a lot lighter, but because I've got those black lines in there, I just decided to go with it and colour them the way that Kerby intended for them to be coloured. And there will be times in the background that I'll pick up a green or a brown and I don't change the colour on the screen. That's just because I've noticed that I forgot a leaf, because I did forget quite a few leaves and a bit of a branch. So I'm just colouring the leaves or the branch. And dark sap green to get the shadows and the lines into the leaves, and I go around an outline, so I go around the leaves with the dark sap green as well, just so they become more prominent, but I don't want them popping out, like amazingly popping out. I want the background to be flat and hidden, but you know, not crappily done. And yes, I'll make up my own words, crappily is a word. And like I've said before, my camera seems to get its knickers in a knot with the Caran D'ache and little bits. Like it wants to focus on the face, and so it tries to go out of focus for the background, so that is why sometimes it flicks in and out. And as much as I hate doing backgrounds like this, you can tell just from like 5 minutes ago when it was just the spring green on the leaves how much more lifelike they look when you add shadows. Now I knew this fruit was a banana. I'm just colouring the corn here with the yellow ochre, and I also go over all of the individual corn bits with I think it's Wawrm Earth. Yeah, so here I'm just going to go over all of those little individual corn bits just to make it seem more prominent. I'm doing more of a line on the right hand side of the corn because that's where the shadow is going to be. But yeah, it's a little difficult when the camera keeps going in and out. It just wants to focus on the pencil. I also knew that this was cheese, and so I colour in the cheese with the Naples ochre, the apricot, and the dark umber. I don't want it too yellow, but I want it yellow enough. And also I do another part of this one, so it's the background, but it's also the finishing touches of, you know, the hair and that, so the extra hairs that I add and things like that. So that is what will be in the next part of this. And so this is where the video ends, and the next video will be part 2 or part 4 technically of all of these, where I finish the background. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoy this. And also don't forget to stay creative and stay colourful, and I'll see you next time. Bye!